What is happening, everybody? It's Troy here, and we're back to do another Bloom and Spike tour in my cool to intermediate grow space. But first, I wanted to welcome you all back to my channel, and I wanted to take a minute to ask you all to like, comment, share, subscribe if you want to see more content by me. And with that said, let's take a look around the grow space and see what we have happening here, guys. The last video I did was just a couple weeks ago, and we no longer have the Zygonesia in bloom. Nothing happening with the Rupiculus Lalias. They're all just growing. If we shuffle to the Miltoniopsis section, this is Arthur Cobbledick Springtime. So this will be, I believe, the first time blooming for me, but not the first time blooming for the orchid. So I will be very excited to see how these blooms turn out because I've had this orchid for a while now. It should have definitely bloomed by now, but I recently switched my Miltoniopsis collection all into leca and self-watering. And when I did that, it must have prompted something within this orchid to say, I'm ready to bloom, because here we are, guys. So hopefully we don't blast buds and we will get to see the blooms here soon. Take you slowly up here. Dendrobium norita chip already gave a wonderful flush of blooms about 3 or 4 months ago, and the older blooms started dying off. And now these are the most recent blooms, and then we have several spikes coming up. This is one of the new shoots that was put out this year. She put out 2. Where are we? This one and that one, and both of them have spikes coming up. So it's awesome. It looks like her second flush of blooms is going to be just as delightful and as full as the first set of blooms. So I'm pretty excited about that. Norita chip is one of those quintal farm hybrids that just seem to grow anywhere and just really, really, really do well. We have some sort of activity I had pointed out with my Phalaenopsis soft cloud. But when I was watering, I noticed that we have a second spike coming. So maybe we'll get one big multifloral set of blooms on that phal. She's a delight. Over here, Tetragronum just had on this growth over here 2 blooms, and they lasted about a week and a half, and then those blooms stopped about a week ago, I would say. And just today we started opening up on these 2 buds that were on a different growth. Cymbidium Goringii has a couple of buds. I think there's one more. Yeah, there's one more on this side. I don't know if she's actually going to progress with those. We'll see what the future holds for us. She was freshly repotted. That's why I say that. And so I don't know if that has taken too much of her energy trying to get the roots into the pot, the new media. So that's why I say I don't know if she will open those buds. But fingers crossed, we can hope. Since you guys have been here last, I had to do an emergency repot on Cymbidium eburnum, if her leaf tips don't show you. So I started panicking because I thought I was overwatering my Cymbidium, and then I realized I hadn't watered in 3 weeks, so it was just crazy that it seemed like she was wet when she shouldn't have been. So I was done waiting to see what was going on with the pot. I pulled her out of the pot, and the media was still soaking wet in the middle. So I pulled her out of her other pot and gave her more room in this pot, and I repotted her up with larger lava rock. About 50% of that pot is really large lava rock, and then I just topped it off with some smaller lava rock and pumice at the top. Hopefully this is going to dry out better for her. Even though cymbidiums are terrestrial, they don't want to stay wet. They're like a path or a frag. They want to have moisture. They don't want to have wet feet. They want to be able to dry out. One Zygonesia is finished, but my Signotia bluebird is getting ready to open. Well, is currently opening. Not all the way opened, unfortunately. Let's see. This orchid is such a delight. Had her for a while now, and she never disappoints me. I highly recommend her if she's not in your collection and you want to try a Zygopetalum. Maybe this is a good hybrid to start with because it's so vigorous and the blooms are gorgeous and there's a light fragrance on it. Over here, Hawaiiara lava burst, still blooming. These blooms never get old. Look how gorgeous they are. This is her second time blooming. I'm very impressed. Her bloom is so much better now than it was the first year. Obviously, most orchids don't bloom so well their first year. But this is her second time blooming, and I think it's much improved, and she's done well for me. Burighiara Franz Jewels. So these blooms on their way out. They're done. They've had enough. But I have this spike right here, which has buds on it already. And then right back here, we have another spike progressing. The buds are not there yet. I'm kind of hoping that these two spikes will open up around the same time for a nice full display. My cochleanthes, who has done nothing for over a year, and I put her into leca and self-watering recently, and she's lost some leaves as a result, but she has decided that she would like to bloom for us. So if you see right down there, guys, looks like we are going to see my aromatica. And then Bronze Maiden, I told you all I was going to move her up to the orchid room because I thought she would do better in the warmer weather, warmer conditions. But she put out a spike, and so that tells me she is happy where she's at. I'm not going to move her. I don't really like moving my orchids, but sometimes I have to shuffle things around. And I'm happy with my decision to just leave her there. Over here, Siku Marguerite is putting out a spike on this new growth. She was just in bloom not that long ago. I don't know if that was a response to being stressed from a recent repot or she just had enough energy and wanted to bloom. But she looks like she's going to put out something else for us, so that'll be awesome. It's always nice to have blooming orchids this time of the year when it can get a little depressing. Cerealia is still blooming. That orchid loves to bloom. Great species, Dendrobium. Hair Alexander. One of my favorite Miltoniopsis. The smell, the fragrance is phenomenal. And this part of my living room is always, you can always detect her fragrance when you're in this part of the living room. If you sit on the couch, you can smell her just fine without any problems. Miltoniopsis chasey. Her last bloom's getting ready to go over. Isn't the greatest show? She bloomed much better for me in the spring than she did in the fall. This is a really neat frag. It is my mini grande. And her blooms are going over. She had another one there this morning, and when I was watering her, she dropped it. It was done. And so there are two more growths coming, and I think it looks like one of them might be coming with a spike. So that'll be nice because, again, we like blooming orchids this time of the year. And then my Dracula is still putting out more spikes. This is oh, focus. Maybe not. My hands are too shaky, guys. I apologize. I have very shaky hands, and then the winter months do not help at all for me. Luciana. Oh, here. Let's go this way. Putting out another bud. So this will be the third bloom, and none of them opened up together. They've all opened up separately. That's all right. I believe this is the division's first time blooming. I bought it as a division, and she looks awful right now. My humidity has dropped a little bit the past couple weeks. Not that she looked that great prior to it, but I've noticed a little bit more spotting, these black spottings from a drop in my humidity. It's that time of the year. There's nothing I can really do to prevent it. And pour packs. Whoa. This bloom back here is spent. We got a couple of buds. 1, 2, 3. 3 buds that are going to open on the pour packs. Also another delightful species to have in your collection. Very, very common. If you'll all go over to Hillbilly Orchids, Miss Paula has a huge pour packs up on a mount. When she does her weekend walk around, you get to see it. The thing's huge, and she's grown it really, really well. So hopefully that's goals for my pour packs, to have something as nice as Miss Paula's. So with that, what do we have over here? Nothing on these zygos. They're just growing. I haven't noticed any spikes coming up with the growths yet. It's fine if they don't bloom. They were just repotted this year. They just came into my collection this year. I haven't repotted the maculatum right here, this one. But I will also put the this one into leca and self-watering as well. Try to keep consistency around here. It makes watering day much easier when everything is in the media that you're comfortable watering, you've got down pat. I just have my Sogo Yellow Tris blooming still. Lovely fragrance. At some point, I'm going to go up into a warm to hot grow space tour, and when I do that, there is a Vanda I have in bloom, and these blooms kind of look similar, but the fragrance is almost identical. So remember what these blooms look like, and when we take a look at my Vanda, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then we have a spike on all 3 of the phals over here, and I have double spikes on this no ID, so that's pretty exciting. We can take a little gander at the African violets. We have just a couple of these sports that I really like. That's my absolute favorite. Lesno Crusaveo, I believe is what it's called. Now, my Russian is not that good, so I probably did not pronounce that right at all. One of my viewers had wanted to see a little bit more of the African violets. I said, why not? This is another one of my favorites. Anything with white flowers, and I'm in. Oh, looks like she's on her way out. So y'all can see. All right. Hoya. Hoya's not blooming. My Nepenthes. Let's see if I'm talented enough to film. I want to show you all what I discovered when I was watering this morning. That's a really nice picture. I'm very happy with how these guys have reacted to their transition into a small lava rock, the bonsai grade lava rock. That's what I put these guys in with some pumice. And I put some leca at the very bottom of the pot just to help with wicking. And it seems to work. These guys look great. They're getting some really good nutrients to them. I can definitely give them more nutrients in this setup versus before I had them in sphagnum moss. So I know that's a side note. I know they're not orchids, but I'm still pretty happy with how they're doing. So I wanted to talk about them for a second. And then my Phalaenopsis, Young Home Cocoa. And her blooms are starting to go over. I've had to run the heat more than I've wanted to, and I think that they've been hitting her blooms a little bit. And then down here, the Tangerine Fire has a sheath. So I'm pretty excited about that. This one seems to be a favorite amongst the crowds. But that's all I really have happening down here. I have more things happening in the warm to hot grow space. So we will go up there and do a tour soon. Maybe not right this second, but soon we will. And I want to thank you all for taking time to go through all my orchids with me, for all the support everybody's been giving me. I really appreciate it. And if I could ask you all to like, comment, share, subscribe, that'd be awesome. Thank you guys for stopping by, and y'all have yourselves a great day. All right, guys, I wanted to come back real quick. I wanted to show you this amazing Cattleya. She lives in my intermediate space, also known as my bedroom. This is BLC Burkett Wonder Lakeland. And the fragrance is divine. The bloom is divine. Everything about this orchid is divine. And I figured we'd put her at the end of the video and leave everybody in awe. At least I'm in awe. I'm a sucker for white Cattleyas, guys. I mean, just look at it. I did not think that she was going to bloom for me because I repotted her earlier this year. So to have such a nice, big, full bloom, very, very, very happy. I just wanted to take a moment to share that with you all. Thanks again for watching, guys. Take care.